Hey, what's up? It's John Gizzy. You know who is he, aka Philly G, because they know who I be. And I'm here with King Tigger,
What's up?
Ray Ray,
I do, peoples.
and special guest, Alison Duke. And hey, we
Hello,
started
everyone.
we started a podcast. Today we have a sit down with Canadian director. I like the I'm a proud Canadian.
Absolutely.
So I always put emphasis on the Canadian director, Alison Duke. I'm going to talk about a little bit about her and her new documentary that we had the pleasure of viewing today, Bam Bam, the Sister Nancy story. And yeah, it was so educational for me. It was a song that
absolutely
I heard everywhere.
Yeah,
And I never, it was such a good story.
everywhere. I'm talking everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Like, yeah, I thought that was like the anthem for the longest time, but I
Yeah.
didn't realize
What was
the
going
whole
on,
story
right?
behind
Yeah,
that,
exactly, right.
which was very interesting to hear and see. And I was really impressed by the visuals. And yeah, I just want to find out about your filmmaking journey and how you came to this process.
Well, I've been making films for a long time. So long that when this song dropped, when Bomb Bomb dropped in the basement parties in Scarborough,
Mhm.
like I remember when the record was actually released in the parties.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Nice.
I've been telling people, like, to be able to have so much joy in something,
Mhm.
and then years later be involved in either showing the journey of that person, or tell the story around what you've received joy from.
Mhm.
Is a weird kind of feeling. I feel amazing. I feel wow, what an incredible thing to happen to me in my life, because I love music, and I love that song, and I love the whole album for so many years growing up. And I didn't, back then I didn't know I wanted to be a filmmaker. That came years after. I actually went to, I was an athlete, and I was pretty much of an elite basketball player, and played the circuit in Toronto. I played in university. I belong to the University of Windsor's Hall of Fame for basketball.
Oh,
Nice.
And I was playing many years, and I got a master's degree in kinesiology because I was so connected with the sports world. And it was not until like 10 years after that I started making films. And my entryway into it was making music videos.
oh,
Oh.
Music videos in Toronto. Again, mid 90s. This is like mid 90s now. And, I just fell into it. Like a friend who was in film, they approached me about being a producer for one of the, music videos he was making for his friends. And at that time I was writing. That's when I was just starting to get creative. I was writing for a magazine, or a zine called Word Magazine in Toronto back in the day. That was an amazing magazine. Every month it came out, and it had record reviews, film reviews. It had what was going on in the community. And anyways, I had a column for that, and he just thought I was organized because I had a column every month, and I was meeting my deadline. So he asked me to be a producer. He asked me to be a producer, and I'm like, okay. I had no idea what I was doing. And that back then we had film. We shot actually on 16 millimeter and 35 millimeter film. So you had to really know what you were doing. It's not like, today you have digital and you're just like, you can shoot all day. Just change the card.
Yeah.
There, changing a reel of film had consequences. That meant you had to spend more money, right?
Mhm.
So anyways, so did that for 4 years. And I just want to talk about that a little bit because like there's so many people that came through, the doors of Rage Film House, which was I was one of the members in Toronto. There was like 4 of us that came together after a while. All these people making music videos, and we were like a conduit for people to get that done with, much music grants and factor and all that. Anyways, We had a lot of people that came through that were very creative, like Director X. I produced for him, and everybody knows who he is. And Dawn Wilkinson, she's a episodic director now for television. And there's just so many of us, just creating and experimenting and getting things done. And so after that, after 4.5 years of doing that, I kind of learned how to make films. And then I wanted to make a documentary about my brother's hip hop group, Citizen Kane, and the film was called Raising Kane, a Rap-umentary. And that was made with the NFB. And when I made that, it went to New York Urban World Film Festival, and I won the HBO Award for Best Documentary. And that launched my career.
Nice.
Yeah. So how did that feel, kind of coming to get your first documentary, your first project that you were putting together, like a full length, longer than a music video kind of thing, and it picked up so much attention and got you so much prestige off of it?
I felt great because it was hard. At that stage, I knew how to make music videos, but I didn't necessarily know how to make a documentary. I loved watching documentaries, and I spent a lot of time watching documentaries. But just having that happen, I was kind of scared. I was like, oh no, what if I made a film and it's absolutely a piece of, nobody wants to watch it. And the fact that people really appreciated it, and also it became a cult classic, and people still, even to this day, ask for it. It feels good. It feels good because also, being a woman in the industry, a lot of people think that you don't know anything. Like, I can't even tell you how many dudes, I'm gonna say dudes, yes, dudes, because there's 3 of you there. Dudes, while I was making, first of all, Raising Kane, they would ask me questions. Well, do you know this? And do you know that? Do you know this? And the same thing happened to me all these years later, because Raising Kane was 2001, 2001. Okay, more than 20 years later, Bam Bam comes out. While I'm making it, people are quizzing me. Like, do you know this? Do you know that? Do you know this? I'm like, yo, hold up. What do you think? Are you going to make a film and not do research?
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
You tell me why that happens.
Yeah, I wish I knew, other than people underlooking and undervaluing the female presentation or presence in that field, right?
Exactly.
But I think that you're a testament to showing that it can be done and on a high level.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. And for me, just Sister Nancy's story kind of sets that up anyways, right?
Yes.
Because she was just formidable from time. I know she looked up to her brother, Brigadier Briggy, and she tried to follow in his footsteps. But she was she was on fire from time. So just seeing her being like the only female voice in a sea of men on the mic, and seeing how she just was able to hold her own, that's inspirational for me as a creative person.
Yeah.
And then see, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm just talking. You guys have to cut me off. And then see her years later, being an older woman, and I'm an older artist. I could be all your moms there. I could be your mom. Being able to continue making films and being an artist in this medium at this level is so meaningful for me, because I was going to quit a couple years ago.
Good thing you didn't, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of one of the things that I was wondering around, was seeing as the time span from your first one to the project you've just completed now, and that's getting ready to air soon. And you said that you had moments in there where you looked at possibly quitting. What was that experience like for you, and how did you overcome that barrier or that challenge that you were feeling at that time?
Yeah, that's really interesting that you'd ask that, because I did make a lot of work in between. I have a whole, I think I have a nice, robust filmography from the beginning to now. But it was more when am I going to be able to make something again that I just truly feel like I don't have anybody looking over my shoulders. I direct a lot for different people, like different companies and all that, but I can just make something freely and, just be kind of like the boss of it. And as long as I am within budget and I play by those kind of rules, it just experiment and do something I just totally want to make. And I always tell people, this is my crazy film. Like, this is just me just going, this is what I want to make, and I'm being unapologetic about it. And it's not made in the traditional documentary way. Although we do interviews and all that, it was impossible to shoot anything kind of twice with the same thing twice with Sister Nancy, because she's just raw and she just lives in the moment. So it became this kind of creative challenge, or really, I wouldn't say it was a challenge. It was just sort of like this thing that I just wanted to do. Like, what if I made a film this way, and just try to be like myself and not have any kind of rules and just do what I think is that I want to do. Just follow it that way. So that's why I say it's my crazy film. It's my crazy film.
What would you say would have been your highlight experience of making this film?
Well, definitely hanging out with Sister Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's such a character. She is just real. She's a real person. And it was so refreshing to me, because a lot of the times when I'm making other projects, you've got celebrities and all that, but everybody is sort of like, they have their handlers, they have their glam squad, they have like, everything kind of works a different way. It doesn't really work, making those kind of films where you're like, okay, I just want to film you while you're, sleeping and rolling over in your bed with no makeup on. They were like, are you nuts? And so it was just really refreshing just to be able to work with someone, film Sister Nancy, who was just living in the moment and so unapologetically herself, and not afraid of how people are going to perceive her or look at her when they watch the footage. She never asked me to look at any footage. She didn't even want to look at the film until we screened it with an audience, and that was in Tribeca. Was the first time that she watched it. But yeah, that was refreshing, because that doesn't really happen now. Like, everybody has to put on makeup. You got to get your fit on. You got to, she didn't.
She didn't care.
Is that what you guys call it? A fit, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to do all those things.
What was her reaction when she seen the final?
When she saw it in Tribeca, it was kind of funny, because her daughter wasn't there, and she was just live streaming it to her, just friends with her. So she was watching the film like this with her phone in front of her. But then this time, when she came to Toronto to watch it, I was also less nervous, because I was just like a bag of nerves the first time she watched. Because I was like, because Sister Nancy, if she doesn't like the film, she's gonna tell me.
Yeah.
She real.
Right?
Yeah.
Like she's gonna tell me, right?
Yeah.
And she'll probably tell everybody on stage that she doesn't like the film, right? She'll be like, you tried hard, Alison, but that's not good, right? So in Toronto now, and she was here for a couple of days, 3 days. When she saw the film, she just told me that she really loved it. She says, I love it.
That's good.
That's awesome.
She wants to watch it every day.
Nice.
Crazy question. What was in the pot that she was cooking? Because that looked delicious.
Ooh.
That
Okay.
Good.
The one outside or the one in their kitchen?
The one outside. Actually, the one in the kitchen too. Both of them. Like, what was it?
Is it the Jamaican? I'm Guyanese, so the Jamaicans call it red sea soup or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, she can cook.
Okay.
Okay.
She can cook. She cooks amazingly. Like, whenever I was so happy to go over to her house and film with her, because I know she would always feed us. Right? She'd be in the kitchen, And my favorite thing is like soup. I really love like a nice hearty Jamaican soup,
Right.
red peas, whatever.
Yeah.
And she would just whip it up, and it was so good. Like she needs to write a cookbook or have a cooking show. She needs to do that and then she would just come out to just out of the kitchen with plates of food for the crew, for our cinematographer Lucas, who she adored, and her sound person. We'd just be eating. I was like, "Are we supposed to get a scene here?" So I think that's why we ended up filming a lot of her cooking, because it was just like, okay, well, she's cooking. Let's just get that.
Yeah, no, all the food looked
But
delicious.
I'm kind of glad that I didn't take any of that cooking out, because at first I was like, why am I putting this in the film? And then I was like, you know what? The folks are going to get it.
Yeah.
When they see that pot, they're going to be like,
Yeah.
she's throwing it down.
Yeah, she made me go get something to eat. Let's just put it that way today.
Well, when I was just seeing it gave me that vibe that just like you said in the film, in certain parts they'll call her Mama Nancy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And
Yeah.
it reminded me of that mom's home cooking, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And she's feeding the whole, her family, her friends, the neighborhood. She's just a generous spirit, She's just a generous spirit like that. And everybody, loves her cooking. Like everybody knows. You just stop by and you get your food, you get your soup, Can you imagine? I was like, you need to live close to me. I need to be dropping by and getting my soup every day.
Oh.
Cool.
You look like you had a question.
Yeah, I was giving you
No, I know. Now my mind is on that food.
I don't know. Like it's just so good. I'm like, oh yeah, and she, what else she does? She makes her own juices. So you know how people have like, they make like fresh juices and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you go to her house, you open her fridge, she's got like a cucumber juice, she's got something with ginger. I don't even know if I'm calling it right, because she's gonna say, Alpha, that's not what I make. She makes all kinds of juices that taste insanely great, like the best juices as well. Okay. So
yeah.
I'm working, but I'm not really working.
What was it like for you to kind of go with her, and when she was doing those performances and filming, what was that atmosphere and that vibe like for you as a filmmaker?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I'll never forget being on stage with Sister Nancy at the side, taking it in, just watching her. And I've filmed her from different positions, right? Like around like a event hall or a club or, whatever, concert hall. And, but it's just like when you're, sort of at the side of stage, like just at the side of the stage, right beside the DJ or something, and you're looking at her and you're seeing what she does from that angle, and then seeing the crowd, how they're looking up at her. Oh my gosh. And she really puts on a fabulous show. She gives 150%. She's moving around. She's doing high kicks. She's swinging her hair. Like she's doing it all. And, she's talking to people. The way she connects to people, with people in the audience, like she looks at them, she talks to them. Some of them had signs for her. I didn't get a lot of them in the movie. I don't think I had any signs in the movie. But some people would put like stuff on their phone, like with a message for her. It was just so crazy. In terms of just the feeling of, I'll never forget that. And all different kinds of venues. I'll never forget that. That is so incredible.
Yeah, and all over the world too.
And all over the world, because you don't like a lot of people standing up on her stage when she performs. People try, and she'll let some people, but that was a treat just to be there.
Yeah, she has so much energy too.
Very good stage presence.
Yeah, maybe it's the juice.
Maybe it's the juice.
It's the walking that she does every day too. She said,
"Yeah,
with the weights, right? So she's keeping herself healthy."
Yeah, just seeing like it would show like Hong Kong, and then you'd see Ireland, then you see London, then you see New York, and every place just a crowd of people, and they're just the energy she's given, they're giving right back.
Yeah.
It was that's the type of show I like to go to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, where everyone feels part of it.
Yes, everybody feels a part of it, and she doesn't do the same thing twice, even though she's got her set. like the way she will perform the song or the way she will move. Sometimes she sings hymns or like gospel
Okay.
songs, or like she'll sing, verses from the Bible, or like older songs that she knows from growing up, like religious songs. Um, and she'll sing that to the crowd, and her voice is just piercing through, and it's just vibrating in your body,
Mm.
when you're in the audience and you're watching, you just feel this energy. I think she's got great performance energy, great
Absolutely.
energy.
Absolutely.
So what was like that first conversation like between the two of you, like when you kind of pitched the idea to her, or when you guys first started that collaboration? What was that conversation like?
Well, the job came through one of her DJs. She's got a lot of DJs around the world, and some of them are in the film. There's one in the film that he's kind of on the sidelines, but his name is DJ Mossman. He's from Montreal, but I think he's in BC right now. I'm not sure exactly where he resides, but he heard of our company, Oh Yeah Media Group. He heard that Gaddy and myself, we were documentary filmmakers, and he may have known. I think he told me he's heard about me making documentaries about music docs, and so he just called like late while I was working late one night. It was like a cold call, and he was like, oh, I'm interested. I'm looking for someone to make a documentary about Sister Nancy, and I just remember saying, she's still alive, like I didn't know, right? And then he goes, yeah, she's still alive, and I'm her DJ, and we've been looking for this. And I didn't really believe him, but he did actually come into the office. He did say, he said, yeah, this is true, and if you want to do it, let me know. As long as Sister Nancy likes you, then we're on. So I said, okay. I had to decide, okay, I want to do it. And then we made a call to Sister Nancy, and I remember I was in the middle of the office, and all the staff was around. He called her, and we were just on the phone. I was like FaceTiming, and I was like being all geeky, and we hit it off.
Nice.
It was just a couple of minutes of a conversation, and then she said, okay, let's do it. But then. And then we found the money for it, and then when we were starting was 2020, and it was early 2020, and they were trying to get her some kind of concert around South by Southwest.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
That was the first one. That was the first concert, or the first big thing that closed down because of COVID.
okay. I'm sorry about that. On our end, it froze for a second. I don't think it actually affected the video on the recording itself. Technology things.
Yeah, technology.
It's okay.
So,
Yeah.
and talking about the your media group, can you explain a little bit about that and some of the different works and projects that you have all kind of worked on?
Yes. Oh Yeah Media Group is a film production company that's co-founded by myself and Gaddy Conte George. She's another filmmaker. We worked on a couple things, several years ago, maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago. And, she was directing a documentary, feature documentaries, and she came to me for some notes, and we hit it off the way we just talked about film and all that. And then I was producing a series, an educational series called the Kua Benjamin Legacy Project. And I just remember how she worked, and I invited her on to direct one of the short films about Black activists from Toronto, or who were in Toronto that were no longer around, like Charles Rhodes, Dudley Laws, Marlene Green, Gwendolyn Johnson, and Rose Douglas. And so I picked 5 female directors to direct each one, so one each. And I selected her to direct the one on Dudley Laws, and she did a fabulous job. I just loved how she, as a filmmaker, you're giving a budget, you're given time, and you have to push it.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to push to the end. You can't let up until, the bell rings and there's no more money.
Yeah.
That's your job as a director. And I saw that she knew that concept and did that. And anyways, we worked really well together. And then she had a project called that came to her with a guy who had all these archives. His name is Mr. Winston Rose, and he had maybe 6,000 hours of Black history that he recorded over like 50 years, 60 years. And she was going to make a film about him, and she brought that to me to be a producer. So we joined forces on that first film, and it's called Mr. Jane and Finch because he was an activist in the Jane and Finch area. He was 80 years old, and we thought we were going to make a film about this 80-year-old, documentary filmmaker who was like an activist, and then he decided to run for public office in Toronto for the municipal election. So the film became about that, and we used his archive to kind of tell his story about his past. And then from there, we just started making other films. Like we have another film out on the market right now called A Mother Apart. It did really well at Hot Docs. It's been winning awards at the LGBTQ film festivals around the world. We have a series that we produced called Black Community Mixtapes. I don't know if you saw that series on City TV, talking about hip hop, literature, and various other, carnival, like all this hidden history in Canada that came, that people don't know, and we just use people's archives and all that to help tell the story. So we've just been pumping out a lot of projects at a very, very high level, and right now we have a team of, I would say, 5 people, and we continue to develop documentaries, and we're going to be, and we're in the middle of developing some scripted or fictional work. But that's us. And then we also have a nonprofit side that Gaddy and I founded called Oh Yeah Black Arts Coalition. And that nonprofit organization is self-contained now. We used to do everything back in the day when we started, but it has full staff, and they provide excellent programs for Black youth and mid-career folks to, I won't say learn, but just, to hone their skills in the film industry. There's so many programs that comes to OVAC.
Definitely, I would love to get some information on that, as me and my cousin over here are both filmmakers, and I've been working in the industry for a number of years, so it's definitely something that I'd like to explore and work my way towards being that director's cat.
Yes, it's exciting, and you should. I know most of our programs are for people in Ontario, but then sometimes we do things out of province. Mm-hmm. So I would go on the website, look up Oh Yeah Black Arts Coalition, and you'll see all the things that we do. And sometimes we do like networking events, but yeah, you never know. Yeah. You never know when it's going to go national, but yeah, it's something you should definitely tune into.
Awesome.
So, one thing that I find is like working in the film industry is navigating the grants and getting the money is always like a really hard battle. You want to talk to us a little bit about how you've experienced that over your extensive career, and what were some of the barriers maybe that you had to overcome? Yes,
that was very difficult because sometimes especially if you're working by yourself, or you're just getting in, you didn't get your first one yet, right? You haven't gotten your first one. It's like, what am I supposed to say and how am I supposed to say it? Like, how are people going to understand what I'm talking about and see the film and say, hey, we think that you are on the top of the pile of the people that we want to give money to, right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple things, and it's different, in terms of docs and drama, but then some things are the same. Like, one thing you have to do is learn your voice. Like, how are you speaking about your project? Is it speaking about your project in the style of the genre it's from? Are you being clear? Are you being creative? What are your support materials? Is your budget, the budget that you're submitting with this, does it match the actual creative, like those things. And you can learn all these aspects of grant writing by taking workshops. I took a lot of workshops first, and then I started teaching workshops because after because I knew a lot and I was getting the grant. So taking the workshops and getting some mentorship from people who know how to do it is key. I'm kind of hard to work with because usually if somebody gives me something and I ask them, what kind of feedback do you want from me? Like, how do you want your feedback? Do you want just honesty feedback, hard feedback, or do you want me just to look at a certain area and all that stuff? Because I'm of the school of, I'm just going to tell you straight up, and I'll just be marking up everything. Like, I would do it this way, do this, and that might be hard, but you have to go through that process, especially if you can find a mentor who has, who's successful in grant writing or been on juries. That's another thing. I've been, on juries, and they kind of know your competition, what you're up against, like who you're up against and what you're up against in terms of the story. So that's one of the things. It's like, do what you can to learn the craft of grant writing. It is a craft. It's a total craft. And make sure you understand the budgeting, the financing. Sometimes people write grants or write their their application, and they have they describe their project in one way, but then when you see the script attached, it's totally written differently. It doesn't match, right? So there's little things like consistency, but don't give up just because you didn't get, you got some no's. I got a lot of no's, and I think working and trying to do all those music videos grants, because we didn't get them every month. We'd have to write and write and write. I think that taught me that I don't care about the no's. It's the yes that I care about. So
definitely. You made me forget my question. No, I was reading through your bio a little bit here, and I noticed that you work with one of my favorite actors, you did a documentary for one of my favorite actors, and that was Idris Elba. How was that?
Yeah. I directed a series called Paid in Full. Mm-hmm. It was a co-production between Idris Elba's company, Green Door Pictures, and another company called Catalyst, with that was led by Julie Bristow, and it was a great experience. It's a 3-part series about music and reparations and how the music industry works. And I was just the director. I didn't get to edit.
Oh, okay.
They had a whole editing team, which was it's always kind of weird to me because I edit a certain way. Mm-hmm. The way I tell a story, it's very rhythmic. The way I like to tell my stories.
Yeah.
And that's how Raising Cain was, my first documentary. And I come from people in my family, they're musical. My mom was musical. My brother's musical. So there's a way that I hear things and the way I edit. And it was I was kind of I wanted to be a part of the editing process for that, but I wasn't. I was just a director for hire. I did my job, and it turned out lovely, though. It turned out lovely. I got to meet a lot of people like Smokey Robinson. I interviewed Shaka Khan, some folks from Goody Mob. I interviewed a lot of folks.
Nice.
I think 40 people.
Legends, all legends, right? So
yeah.
So what is that process like for you, going from somebody who was involved in the music scene at an early age, getting involved into music videos, and then being able to work on projects where you're kind of getting to interview or be around some of these people that you might have been listening to their music?
I don't know what my life is, really. That's just, I pinch myself all the time. To hang out with Shaka Khan and Smokey Robinson, it's just hey, yo, just having moments with these. I've been through a lot of things in my life that I'll never forget. it's been really amazing. I love them both, and hanging out with them. And then there's a lot of other younger folks in the music industry that I'm just learning about that I, interviewed. I'm very satisfied. And then they tell me their story. I sit there and I'm interviewing them about their story. It's wild. And, they tell me a lot of stuff that, is not going to make the cut because it might be a little bit too much. But they're telling me the story. And then as someone who loves to make music docs, I store that. I was like, oh. So sometimes I have conversations with people and they say, we're talking about a certain thing. And I'll say, they'll say something. I say, oh, no, I don't think it goes like that. It goes like this. And they ask me like, well, how do you know? And then I say, well, because Smokey Robinson told me. or he actually told me this is the story. Or Nile Rodgers. Yeah. He's another one. Nile Rodgers told me.
I was going to say, I know Smokey.
You can't beat that in argument. Yeah. What's that?
I said, I knew Smokey probably had all kinds of stories for you.
Smokey's he's a hoot. He's real amazing, just down to earth. You think we're down to earth?
Yeah. No, I had a customer. I do sales for my company, and I had a customer who met Smokey Robinson one time, and she was telling me stories. I'm only supposed to be there for a half hour. I was there for an hour and a half, and she was telling me stories about Smokey Robinson. So, yeah. It was a good thing it was the end of the day because I would have missed my next assessment. Right?
No. He's amazing. And the stories, hearing about early days of Motown. And at that time when I was interviewing him, I don't think I remembered that he had written My Girl. I think I just got that detail before the interview.
Okay.
And then in the interview, he had told me that he actually has written thousands of songs. Mm-hmm. And he just told me like what life was at early Motown, and all the things that went on behind the scenes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's just, right?
and then later, I got to go to Motown to do some interviews. Otis Williams from the Temptations. We shot and we did the interview right in, Motown in the studio, and they rarely do that. And then we're doing the interview, and then I just saw that they had the music sheet for My Girl on a little, pedestal there.
Oh wow!
And it said Smokey Robinson. I was like, what?
That's pretty cool to see that piece of history like that. Yeah.
Smokey wrote a lot for Motown, from what I heard. Right? So
yeah, didn't know that. That's awesome.
I'm not bragging. I'm just saying it's unusual.
Oh no. We love these stories, right? When you get to hear about people coming across history that people don't know about, right? So, like, I've heard that Smokey wrote for a lot of the Motown artists, but I never knew he wrote My Girl, right? So, I'm glad you told me that. Yeah. Actually, now you listen to it, that sounds like Smokey. Sounds a lot like Smokey.
Yeah.
You got a question?
No, I didn't have it.
Oh my God.
Everything I wrote down were like organically going through it all.
What was one of your funnest moments on set? Like when you were kind of going through from music videos all the way up to kind of the documentary film process. Like what was some of those gem moments, I guess?
Oh gosh. There's so many crazy moments. Yeah, there's so many. I don't even know. But what I can remember now is the Sister Nancy was so. She's just crazy. She's crazy, good crazy. She would say terrible. She's just terrible. She is just really fun. And also, I would have to say, hanging out with Smokey Robinson, Shaka Khan, and Nile Rodgers. That's just those folks, like hanging out with them and just being myself, and we're just talking and we're laughing, we're cracking jokes. and just spending time. All we have on this earth is time. Just spending whatever time that is with them. I don't know. I just think about it sometimes, and I'm like, wow. And then I go back to my grind, But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah. Does Sister Nancy already cuss as much as she says?
Oh, swearing like cussing?
Yeah.
when she get mad, her mouth get hot. You don't want. Yeah, she's a lovely lady. She's just like that. And in the film, that part where she's explaining it, like how she is.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I was like, okay, should that be in the film? I think, and I was like, yeah, people need to we need to explain to people like why she is the way she is, and that's just her personality.
Right.
But a lot of people are afraid of her.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
You're like, I'm afraid of her.
Like, it's like those. Like I have a really good friend like that too. Though she's most loving in heart, she comes across as intimidating. Right? She's like that big mama aspect.
Yeah.
Right.
I got aunts like that. It's like,
we got aunts like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, too, right? But no, I can see that. But she'll give you the shirt off her back type of thing. So yeah.
Sister Nancy's like that. She's very kind. She'll give the shirt off her back, and she could cook, which is great. And she could do all these things, but don't cross her. Don't cross her. She'll just tell you. She will just tell you what's on her mind. That's what it is, and we don't do enough of that these days.
Right.
Everything. I'm not saying people have to be, racist and sexist. We don't want all of that, like the hate stuff. But we should be able to tell people, like be honest.
Yeah.
And that's refreshing as well. The fact that she's okay with just, I'm going to tell you how I feel and get it off my chest.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to, I don't want to hold that in my body. If I feel something, I'm just going to tell you. You don't have to think about what I think about you, because I'm going to tell you. You know what I mean?
True.
True. That was refreshing. And she yelled at me lots of times, but I know she's still my friend.
So, like when you say that, like, how's that bond now since the film is kind of it's finished, it's getting ready to kind of be released? Like, is that connection still the same for you guys?
Yeah, I would say she's my friend. She's like, another sister I have. And I call her, and I can't call her too much or she'll cuss me. No, I call her and we have conversations. She's very like just quick, just checking in on her, right? Because I think about her. She's always traveling. She's always doing stuff. And people they call me, hey, I'm thinking Sister Nancy's song. I want to do something, with her song. I'm like, well, you got to ask her. If you've seen the movie, you can't just use her song. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got to go and get permission.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, I call her or I call her if I hear the song on like a certain show, and I'll send her a clip or something. But we have a pretty amazing friendship. I really admire her. I respect her to the max, but I also know that she's still like a private person.
Right.
Right. Although she cooks for it and does all that stuff, and she's on stage and traveling the world, she's a private person. She likes her downtime. She likes to, her alone time. So I make sure she gets that.
And through the process of this filmmaking, like when you were looking at the different, like I think you guys said it was like over 100 different people have sampled her music in various ways. Was there one sample that stood out for her that she was like, I like this one, or you guys both like this one? Like, what was the standout sample that you guys found?
I found a lot. I found a lot of samples. Obviously, I love like Main Source, the way they did it back in the day. K-Cut from Main Source, he was my brother's producer for Citizen Kane, their group. But I like Pete Rock. What Pete Rock did, I don't know if it's because they're in the film and stuff like that, but I just love what he did. He's a master. He's such an amazing guy. He's another person I love being around. Oh my God, how did I forget him? Yeah, and there's so many. Like, there's some people that kind of just use it, and I feel like they're not being creative with it. They just want to kind of get hype around their song by just using it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the people who actually experiment with it.
Right.
You know, there's one that I like, but I don't want to say his name because I just don't like what he's doing in the world right now.
Okay.
And I like what Jay-Z did. You know, with her vocal. There's a lot of Brazilian, Brazilian, Latina, kind of mixes that are pretty cool. Yeah.
So, with the people that did appear in the film, how did you guys reach out to all the people that were sampling? These are the ones that got back. Just like, how did Pete Rock end up being a part of it, and Janelle Monáe and Young Guru?
Yeah, that was like a chase. There's some people in the film that really helped. DJ Gravy, her American DJ, he, opened up his Rolodex. We had some people to find some people for us, but it became the snowball effect because we, get somebody in the film, and then we would say, hey, we're trying to look for this person. And because they're celebrities and they have everybody's phone numbers in their phones, they were like, oh, let me call. One of the person was Renee Nouveau, who's one of the vocalists in the group Jean A. Hey, Mr. DJ, and all those songs.
Yeah.
She's a singer-songwriter. And I know I was connected to her through DJ Gravy, and she just asked me, who else do you want? I said, I'm looking for Pete Rock. And she actually called Pete Rock, and he came to the studio. And Pete Rock, he walked in with his jacket, and he didn't take his winter jacket off. And I thought, oh, he's going to jet. He's not going to even, he's just checking it out. And he sat down, and I just remember that. And I just started asking him questions. And then at first he was just kind of sussing out the situation. And then he relaxed, and then he just stayed for an hour and answered all my questions.
Nice.
It was unbelievable.
Nice.
Pete Rock. And then I invited him to come to Tribeca for the world premiere. Mm-hmm. And he came to the screening. He just looked at me and he said, I loved it. He posted online that he loved the film. And then he was, him and Common was having their record release party. And they invited us. Oh, nice. And it was at a warehouse. And you see how you guys are standing right there, sitting around? They were sitting down, and we were at the edge of the table just there, just filming them. And then we took pictures. It was such a crazy time.
Awesome.
So that record that they were nominated for, what 2 or 3 Grammys? 3 Grammys?
Yeah.
We played it. We heard it the first time when they played it for everyone.
Awesome.
No, that's amazing. Has there, throughout your film journey, when you've been working on different projects and you're interviewing different people for that specific project, do other ideas kind of come up for future endeavors?
Yep, that's what happened when I was doing the Cool Benjamin Legacy Project series. It was all about archives and all that. And then Gaddy came to me with this film about a man with archives. And then we did Black Community Mixtapes, the series based on archives. And then, it's just one thing, you get information and you did all that work to get that information. Look at all that energy.
Yeah. Keep
it going. If it gets spawned into something else, keep it going. And sometimes it just feels like there's a synergy around it, It's a serendipity, situation with getting information and how you got it. So you got to, it came to you. You got to do something with it. I think I have about 5 films that are all connected by this one thing.
That's
in a row.
Pretty cool.
That's awesome. Keep the energy going.
Yeah.
Takes a lot to kill energy, man.
Speaking of keeping that energy going, we'll continue to ask some questions here. Do you have a message or anything that you'd say to somebody, regardless of age, gender, creed, or anything, that wants to get interested into the filmmaking process? Is there anything that you would say to them?
It's so different when I started to now, right? What's different is, there's so many more people doing it on all different types of, screens and outlets and all that. So back then we can experiment a lot. You don't really care about the results. You're just doing it. But I think now, I wouldn't say do that now. I would say, one, learn as much as you can. Learn as much as you can. Like, you should be obsessed with it. You have to be obsessed with everything, from the equipment to how to tell stories to, who you want to work with. How do you want your films to come out? Whose films do you like and why? Watched a lot of films, and look for mentors. Look for mentors that could help guide you. And try as much as you can. I know it's expensive, but try to make at least one film a year.
I like that.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Make one film a year, because I'll tell you why. It just keeps everything. You make a film a year, you're always active, and it doesn't matter. Sometimes you might make a film that it has to be a film festival film, or like it has to be for a broadcaster. But you should just try to make a film. If you don't have those opportunities right there, make a film. Try to make the best film you can that year, and then the next year you do the same. The next year you do the same, and the next thing you know, you've got 3 or 4 shorts, or you have 2 features, or whatever it is, already in your pocket before someone's giving you a real opportunity. I wouldn't even say somebody give you an opportunity. Don't wait for anybody to give you an opportunity. Just do it. And then when I say somebody give you an opportunity, they want to hire you specifically because they see what you can do. A lot of people make the mistake of, they want to get in the film, they don't make anything. So how do you give somebody an opportunity or hire them when you haven't seen what they've made? Quality over quantity. Some people could make films every week. You might be able to do that, but don't make films every week. Make one a month. And then if you can do that, just make sure it's the best you can make it. Find your voice. What kind of films do you like? Some people make films, but they're not necessarily in the style that they want to make the films. They're just making stuff. Try to get early into the style of the film that you want to make. What kind of films do you guys want to make?
Every bit of films. We're in the we and my cousin Philip we did a 48-hour film competition. And we did it. It's where they kind of give you different categories to go under, and a couple of different items that you have to include in the film. So we you want to explain what we drew and stuff?
Yeah, we randomly got science fiction, but they give you a character that has to be put in it, a prop that has to be put in it, and a profession of the character. And the character was a travel agent. So since we got science fiction, we decided to make him a time travel agent. So it's funny. I was nervous going into it because it's 48 hours to make a film. But I swear when we just got to clicking, we wrote the script in an hour.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, and then I went home and I just tightened up the dialogue a little and the scenes, and we were ready to shoot the next day. And yeah, even the edit, I think that we even submitted it 4 hours early.
Yeah.
We had time to kill.
Yeah.
It's just it just clicked.
Yeah. No, and it was really cool process and something I look forward on entering in
this year.
this
Yeah.
year as well. And then with some of the other folks that I work with, because I work in the film industry more as like an assistant director, like a first AD. But I also tried my hands at writing. So me and my other friend, we have a film that's just getting ready. It's just in the color grading process right now, and getting the credits added and stuff. But it's a short film called 3 a.m. So we're waiting for that to get the final version of that back, so we can start having that go into the different festivals and stuff. And that's like kind of like a suspense drama. It's like a father gets a call at 3 a.m. from his daughter that she's being followed home from a party. So it's his race against time to try to save her.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So that should
I could see it.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
all the action takes place in the car. So that and it's like all on the father. We don't actually see the daughter. It's all just from his perspective of talking to her over the phone. So it's really done well. So we're just waiting to be able to get that out to some festivals, and then it's continuing on, right? With the next film projects that me and my cousin are going on, and then a couple of me and my other film buddies that are working on as well.
Yeah, and you don't need to wait for somebody to give you the opportunity. Now that you've got, like, you don't need someone to say, "Oh, we need you to be in this 48-hour competition."
Right.
You know what it takes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Also, some people get hung up on like cameras and styles of cameras and all that. Good storytelling is good storytelling. You know, it's just as long as your look, whatever you're doing, is intentional and it matches what the story is. That's the magic of that's the magic of making movies.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so it sounds like you're on a roll. That's amazing. I'd love to see some of this stuff.
Oh, definitely. We could send you some clips of the stuff, or we could send you the link.
The full film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely.
What kind of feedback do you want? No, I'm really joking.
All you're gonna get, we want
Give
real
them-
as it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give them extreme honesty.
Yeah, we want extreme honesty.
Yeah.
I'm always picky about sound design because for me, I feel, and some people don't feel this way, but I feel that the sound of a movie, like the dialogue, all the sound, background sound, the music, the pacing of the sound, is actually more important than the picture.
It's funny you say that because we had technical difficulties with our sound on the movie. Yeah, the mics we had just
Okay.
yeah.
It was one of those processes where we thought we had all the gear that we needed, but then we ended up having to go rent some gear from an audio place.
Yeah.
And then the mics that we rented kept cutting in and out on us during filming. So that was a headache and a workaround within the edit and the filming process. But we got through it. It was a learning experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
That's one of the things, you know. Obviously, you should have like a really good cinematographer and a great editor, and like a beautiful script. It all comes from the script, but sometimes people don't understand how sound could break, a movie. To make or break a movie, and I'll tell you why. Because you can have something on TV, right? Most people, when they watch TV or their streaming stuff, they'll leave it and they'll go into the next room, but they can still hear what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make sure that your sound for everything you're making has that quality. So a lot of times when I'm making something, I go to another room, I close my eyes, I don't even look at the picture. I'm wondering like if I can see and feel and follow along on the movie. Now, Bomb is a little different because it's got patois, it's got like I'm doing some experimental stuff. You might say like, what is going on in this film? But for most things, it's that, and that's a big, big key. And if you can crack that and understand that, and have a really great picture and story, then you're on your way.
So what's next? What's next for you right now?
You steal my question all the time.
Oh,
Hey, don't
see you
leave
leaning
blanks.
back. You look like you're on a break right now. Just leaning back. No, it's okay.
I had too much sugar before we came on here, so I'm sugar crashing right now. Yeah, but no, what's the next big thing for you?
Next is I'm on a series. I'm directing 2 episodes It's a docuseries, and I'm also at. Oh yeah, we have a feature film that Gaddy, my business partner and the co-founder, she's directing. She's been directing this wonderful, powerful film for the last I would say 5-6 years, unfolding story, and she's just been really, really courageous and just on top of it, like so many aspects of the story. So we're in production on that, and I'm also directing a TV hour. So I'm kind of busy. I'm going to take a break this summer and just relax and all that. Bam Bam's going to be still showing. We're booking it now until I think our latest booking is probably October, November. We're getting bookings now for that time. It's going to be traveling a lot around the world, and I'm so happy and pleased. I'm hoping, my dream is that there's like a tour of the movie at the same time in the same places that Sister Nancy is touring.
Nice.
Wow, that would be amazing.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I hope a promoter can do that. That would be great.
Definitely. Is she coming up here anytime for a concert? Like in Canada?
Well, she was at the TIFF, the Lightbox, but I think she was supposed to have a concert at the end of this month, but I think it got pushed or something.
Okay.
So she comes to Toronto like once a year at least, I think. So
I keep my arrow thin. Right.
I don't know if she goes to any other part of Canada.
Okay.
Maybe Vancouver sometimes.
Okay.
Down for a trip.
You go to Toronto twice a year, so
just make sure it all aligns.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Any more questions, gents?
I love the.
Oh no. It's getting to that time. I just like watching the time, make sure we don't go over what we usually have a lot. I just want to make sure that before we get out of here, we let everyone know that it's going to be on Crave this coming Monday. So I know everyone around here has Crave, so you guys can go check that out. Bam Bam, the Sister Nancy story.
Right.
I want to say thank you to Alison for coming on the show. It was a pleasure. I love speaking with people that have just experienced so much, because you just get the best stories.
Mm-hmm.
And it's yeah, man. Smokey Robinson wrote My Girl. Yeah, that was my favorite song growing up.
And that's gonna be the family party trivia whenever that song comes on. Hey, you know who wrote that?
Oh yeah. So yeah, again, thank you for coming by. Glad to have you. Looking forward to seeing more things from you. And
hopefully we can connect for part 2 soon.
Yeah, next time. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We love having people back.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to come back and visit you all. I'm really excited for all of you for doing this podcast. Is a great thing. I love talking to people on this kind of format, because you can just say whatever you want. It seems.
Yeah.
But then to find out that some of you or all of you are doing film, and that's the interest. That's amazing that you had the film questions in there. That's really cool. That's very cool. And I wish you all the best. Send me some links.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
Look at stuff.
Sorry. Yeah, definitely going to send you the link to the short film.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll do that as soon as we wrap up.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm John Kizzy. You know who is he? A.K.A. Philly G, because they know who I be. And I'm here with King Tigger.
The King of Kings.
Ray.
Take care, people.
An extra special guest, Alison Duke. And we'll catch you next time.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And we'll catch you next time.